Ever tried to follow a recipe on your phone while cooking? It's like you need three hands, right?
Yeah.
Phone's getting totally covered in whatever I'm chopping.
For the worst.
But imagine if you could just ditch the phone entirely and see the recipe steps right there in front of you, like perfectly integrated with your workspace.
Well, that's the future Meta is trying to cook up with these Orion AR glasses. We're going to dive deep into these glasses today, figure out what they are, what they do, and what hurdles Meta has to clear to bring this tech to the masses. So to start, what are we even talking about here? These aren't those clunky VR headsets we've seen, right?
Definitely not. We're talking sleek, almost normal-looking glasses. The magic with these is how they blend digital info onto your actual view of the world.
Seamlessly, right?
Yeah, that's been the real challenge in AR, and why these glasses are so exciting. And a big part of that seamless experience is, well, it's got to be the lenses, right? I read that they're made from something called silicon carbide. Honestly, sounds like something you'd find in a toolbox.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Silicon carbide is incredibly tough. It's used in things like high-performance brakes, even bulletproof vests. But the key here is that it can be manufactured with ridiculous precision, which is critical for AR. We're talking lenses that are not only durable, but also crystal clear. You need that for that immersive AR experience.
Okay, so we've got these tough, super clear lenses. What kind of tech are they packing inside to make the AR magic happen? Because it can't just be about projecting a bloaty image onto a lens.
No, definitely not. Meta's boasting about some breakthrough display tech for these Orion glasses. Think vibrant colors, crisp details. You know, a natural viewing experience where the digital elements don't feel like some kind of afterthought?
So it's all about tricking your brain into that feeling of presence.
Exactly. One of the biggest complaints about earlier AR and VR attempts was this limited field of view. It almost just felt a little off somehow.
Yeah, I get that.
Meta's aiming to address this with a 70-degree field of view for Orion, which is one of the widest we've seen. Now, they've hinted it might be reduced a bit for the consumer version, just because of production challenges. But even still, it's a significant improvement.
So instead of that tiny window into the digital world, it's more like the digital world is blending with your actual vision.
Exactly. Imagine walking down the street and your directions messages, maybe even restaurant reviews, just appear naturally right there in your vision, perfectly woven into the real world.
Okay, now that is where I really start to geek out. That's the sci-fi dream becoming reality. But seeing the information is one thing. How do we interact with it? Because I can just imagine myself trying to furiously air type on a virtual keyboard while my hands are full of groceries. That's a recipe for disaster. So are you going to tell me I need to start practicing my telekinesis or something?
Yeah.
Because controlling these glasses with my mind just sounds like
Well,
it sounds like magic.
it's closer than you think. Meta's answer to this whole clunky interface problem is a neural wristband.
Okay, a neural what now?
Imagine a wristband. Sleek, low profile.
Mm-hmm.
But it can read the electrical signals your brain is sending to your hand muscles.
Hold on, so how's it do that?
It uses something called electromyography, or EMG.
EMG.
Yeah. So even if your hand doesn't actually move, the wristband can pick up on those super subtle signals that your brain is sending to your hand.
So it's like,
It's kind of like how fitness trackers can monitor your heart rate through your skin, right?
oh, okay.
Similar idea.
Uh-huh.
But instead of tracking your pulse, it's about capturing those tiny electrical impulses, the ones that happen when your brain tells your hand to move.
Okay, I think I'm following. So I could be like scrolling through articles or replying to messages just by thinking about moving my fingers.
Exactly.
That's wild.
It's definitely blurring the lines between fiction and reality.
Yeah.
And get this, the implications of this go way beyond just controlling the glasses. Meta sees this neural interface as a platform, like a whole new way of interacting with technology in general.
So I could be controlling my smart home,
Exactly.
typing on a virtual keyboard, all just with my mind.
That's the idea.
Okay, you officially blew my mind. But let's talk about the elephant in the room here. Or maybe I should say the very expensive lenses in these glasses, because all of this cutting-edge tech has to come with a pretty hefty price tag, right?
You are not wrong. Those silicon carbide lenses we talked about, those are the main cost driver right now. Each pair is estimated to cost about $10,000 to produce.
$10,000? I could buy a decent used car for that.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So how is Meta planning on making this accessible to like the average person?
That is the million-dollar question. They're definitely looking at ways to make the manufacturing process more efficient. Potentially even reduce the frame thickness in future versions, which would not only make them more comfortable, but also you'd need less of those pricey materials.
So it's a work in progress. But knowing Meta, they're not just dipping their toes in the AR pool here.
They're going all in.
They seem ready to dive in head first. What is it about this tech that makes them so confident? What's the big picture here? It's obvious Meta's going all in on this AR thing, but what's the end game here? Are they seriously trying to replace our smartphones with these glasses?
It's not as crazy as it sounds. Remember when smartphones first hit the scene?
Oh, yeah.
They were expensive, kind of clunky, and not a lot of people really got what all the hype was about. But look at where we are now. Meta sees that same kind of game-changing potential in AR.
So instead of staring at a screen in our hands all the time, you're saying we'll be living in a world where technology is just seamlessly integrated into our lives.
Exactly. It's a more immersive, more intuitive way of interacting with information with each other. Even,
And Meta's not alone in this, right?
you're right. Other tech companies are starting to play around with AR, but Meta's the only one that seems to be like really going for it.
So they're betting big on AR being the next big computing platform, maybe even bigger than smartphones in the long run. But what does that actually look like in the real world? Give me some examples.
The possibilities are kind of mind-blowing when you really start to think about it. Imagine surgeons using AR to see patient vitals and real-time imaging right there during surgery.
Wow.
Architects collaborating on 3D building plans that are superimposed right onto a construction site.
No kidding.
Or even just something as simple as learning a new language while you're walking down the street in a foreign country, with the translations just popping up right before your eyes.
Okay, that last one is something I could definitely get behind. No more fumbling around with phrase books on vacation. But we've got to talk about the other side of this.
Yeah,
Anytime a new technology comes along, especially one that can be this transformative, there are always downsides.
absolutely.
What about the social and ethical implications of a world where AR is everywhere?
That's a really important point. Even though all of these possibilities are super exciting, we can't just ignore the potential pitfalls. Things like privacy, data security, even digital addiction. These are conversations we really need to start having now before this technology becomes so widespread that it's too late.
It's like we're staring out at the Wild West of tech, right? A whole new frontier to explore, but this time at least we have a chance to learn from the mistakes that we've made in the past. So to kind of wrap things up today, we've got these potentially revolutionary AR glasses on the horizon. Incredible tech, some hurdles to overcome, and a whole bunch of big questions about how all of this will impact our world. What's the one thing you really want our listeners to take away from this deep dive?
I think the key takeaway here is that we're on the verge of a massive technological shift. Whether it's Meta's Orion glasses that lead the charge or something else entirely, the way we interact with technology is moving towards a more integrated, a more immersive experience. And it's up to all of us to really consider the incredible potential, but also those very real challenges that come with it.
Meta's Orion glasses, a window into a future where the digital and physical worlds become almost impossible to tell apart. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the future of AR. Catch you next time as we explore another exciting frontier shaping our world.